Very good. You made that in 57 seconds.
Hot dog.
Okay, so I have a minute to respond to that. Man, I'd like to ask you some questions because you sound like you know what you're talking about. Is that part of the debate?
Sure. It's our debate. We can do whatever we want.
Well, I of course had just stated my position that children should never be given something for free. That money particularly, because we're trying to train them to take care of their money, to use it wisely, and even very young children can be given a simple task and given a monetary reward. So I first wanted clarification. You're saying that allowance would have no stipulations attached to it?
I don't know, because I'm on the fence as to whether or not you would withhold allowance if a child, did something that was disruptive or inappropriate, or if they became lazy and so I don't know exactly where I stand on that in regards to a punitive measure, but I believe that a chore should be a chore. There should be things that a child does that contributes to the household, that they don't receive anything else from it except the benefit of being a member of that household.
Okay, I'll accept your answer, but I don't know that that's necessarily my position, but I'll accept that as a good response. I think children should definitely be responsible and be rewarded monetarily or whatever when appropriate. Okay, on to the next question. I get to read this one.
Oh, well, we have to take a break. Well, that was quick.
Yeah, we have a call waiting.
Oh, good.
Well, when we get back, we'll take this call.
All
and
right.
Make sure you call in 1-800-775-4673. Do you give your children allowance?
Or not. Call us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. You're listening to Homeschool Companion. I'm Candy DeVore, editor of Kids Ministry Ideas magazine.
And I'm Dr. Rose Gamblin, education specialist.
And we are debating allowance versus no allowance. We actually have a caller on the phone that we're going to take, but we want the rest of you to call in and let us know. Kids, call in. Do you get allowance? And if so, do you do chores for it? We want to know how you feel about allowance. Let's talk with Kathy in Maryland. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the show.
I just want to let you know that my vote is for for allowance.
Yeah, wahoo! Thank you, Kathy.
Well, just while
I have two children, ages 5 and 11, and I do their allowance differently. My 11-year-old, of course, has been receiving allowance for quite a while, and we now just have an automatic deposit into an Ing account that she can go in and disperse it how she needs to for her tithe, her savings. She's gotten to the age where she can do that. My 5-year-old, of course, cannot, and we have a bank. And the bank is separated into 3 groups. I got it online, don't know where. It's got a church and a store and a bank.
Cool.
And they have little stickers on them, and so she can take her money. And I'm trying to, teach her. It's very hard to teach them a tenth for the tithe. Mm-hmm. But we try to give her like $1 and 10 dimes, so that she can take 1 dime and put that into her church, and then she can divide the rest however we, help her to decide, into the bank for her savings and into the store for whatever she wants to spend it on.
Do you just determine those percentages for her? Other than the 10%, do you determine the percentages for her or for either one of your kids, or do you let them determine how much goes into what's left over?
We actually try to take 50% into savings, and then whatever's left over they can spend.
Well, that's neat. Well, I saw a bank. It's really similar to the one you're talking about, but it had 4 slots on it, and I think it was an online address. We can put it on the website when we're done. But, Kathy, thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for your vote.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And if you find out where you got that bank, email us and we'll add it to our website because it sounds like a cute bank.
Yeah, there's...
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, now it's my turn.
All right, that's fine. I'm trying to find the bank.
Well, let me get a question here before Candy
Takes off on something.
Before she gets to thinking here. Maybe I can get this. Okay. I'm going to read this, and then I get to comment first, and then you comment.
Okie doke.
Weinstein, author of Children and Money, A Parent's Guide, says, an allowance is the single best learning tool. Kids need to handle themselves, making their own mistakes. What do you think? I think that she is absolutely correct because children need to make their own mistakes. Even their allowance should be tied to like a little salary based upon whatever age they are. And they should be allowed, of course, should be taught the principles of savings, but they don't necessarily, you will have a saver and then you'll have a spender in your family, and you need, the sooner that spender realizes the consequences of their mistakes, the better. And the only way you can do that is by connecting real life lessons to it. So I absolutely agree 100% with this statement, and I think that she's saying that the allowance is a little salary for what the children do here. Don't you?
No. As a matter of fact, I do not. But I also agree with the statement. I do think that kids need to learn. And it's so much better for them to learn when they're young and in the comfort of a home than to learn with a much larger amount of money when they're on their own. So I do think that allowance is an important learning tool for our kids and can give them an opportunity to learn how to spend, to learn the importance of saving, to learn the importance of tithing and offerings. That's extremely important. And if we don't teach it and give the kids an opportunity to learn it when they're young at home with us, then, they're going to run into more problems when they're older. So I do think allowance is an excellent teaching tool.
Okay, so we almost agree on that one.
Yeah, just that one little caveat you put in. I don't agree with that.
The difference is that I think children should earn their allowance and maybe not even call it an allowance. They should earn their little salary. Allowance sounds like something you're given no matter what. And that might be another question, like, when can you take it away? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the end of that one. It's your turn.
My turn. I get to pick. Should there be a difference between an allowance and paying children for doing work? Seems to be a recurring theme.
We've already talked about that. We'll talk about it again, I'm sure, so pick another one.
Okay, how do you think teaching children faith and paying them allowances works together? And I get to answer this one?
Yes, you get to answer that
All
one.
right.
I'm going to put a timer on here to make sure that you don't go over your minute.
Well, thanks. You just took up 5 seconds saying that. I think that allowance is an excellent tool for us to teach children faith. One of the things that we learn as adults when it comes to managing money is that when we pay our tithe first, sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes that hurts. And in our non-infinite wisdom, we think that we can manage our money better and it's hard to have the faith to step out and say, no, regardless of what happens, I am paying my tithe first. That is something that is of utmost importance. And our children can learn that. Between the ages of 5 and 12 is when children learn their values and their lifelong habits. And if they don't learn it by the time they leave our home, they're going to divert to whatever they've done. So if they have not learned the importance of paying tithe and of paying offering and setting money aside, then that's something that's going to be very difficult for them to implement later in life because it wasn't established when their lifelong values and habits were formed. So allowance is a very important time for our kids to learn about stepping out in faith. And I've got to be quiet.
Yes, she went over by 12 minutes, so I hope you all deduct that from her
because
from her allowance.
Oh, no.